It's always a terrifying thing when I realize that I've spoken for 35 minutes and my mic wasn't on. So, how often does this happen, you ask? This would be the fourth time. So anyway, hi guys, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day it is that you're listening to this. Thank you for showing your support as always. I'm actually going to do a double feature for you guys today. And it's a double feature that involves two films that one I can only half-heartedly recommend and one that I can only recommend under certain conditions. So we're going to start with the one that I can only half-heartedly recommend so that I can give a half-hearted review with a lot of enthusiasm. First film that we're going to talk about is called Attack 13. It is from the director of Death Whisperer, a franchise that I am just now recently become a fan of. And if you've seen my last 4 reviews, you know that I've got cotton mouth from how hard I've been sucking off those films. I'm here to tell you that this director works magic when he works on Death Whisperer. And I bet he'll work magic again on Death Whisperer 4. But he just did not perform that magicness, magicification in Attack 13. He unfortunately missed on something that he did so well in Death Whisperer, which was characterization. So Attack 13 follows a group of high schoolers who are all volleyball players and are being bullied by one cunt of a bully. She makes Stephen King bullies look like empathetic characters that are just trying to give you exposure therapy so you can get over your fear of bad words. This bully crosses some lines. I mean, the first thing we see her do is waterboard someone in the showers for money. She is not spiraling, she is spiraled. And these girls have had enough. They've absolutely had enough. So they come together and decide, we're going to do something about that. And just when they decide to make that decision, they find her dead, hanging from one of the basketball hoops in the gym. But the story ain't over. See, she comes back as a vengeful ghost, promising to give everyone in class a wedgie for the rest of their lives. Or at least that's what I thought. Because what she does in this film to everyone and how she kills her victims is so fucked. This director has such an eye for gore. He has such an eye for presentation when it comes to a kill scene, the build up to the kill scene, and how we, and the kill scene itself, the gore post kill scene. This man literally just made this film as an excuse to live out his biggest fantasies, killing teenagers, because the murders in this film are brutal. And the thing about Death Whisperers is that a lot of the violence there was followed by like very exaggerated dark humor. And this is also very exaggerated, but it suddenly changes a little bit when you've gone from like a fucked up haunted forest from hell to just a high school. And the people getting killed are teenage girls. And the way that it feels so like, listen, I love mean-spirited horror. I don't care. Like, I have thick skin. That shit doesn't bother me. So this didn't bother me. But I can tell there's going to be some people out there that are going to be like, okay, yeah, I'm going to turn this off. And I, you know what? Fair. There's some pretty crazy shit in this, especially one scene involving a car that was so fucking awesome. Imagine that scene in Hereditary where you know who has her head, you know what. Think of that as like the blueprint. Think of that as the first draft. It's sick, and I loved it. I thought it looked so cool. The practical makeup on that was insane. The practical effects were great, and that scene just builds and builds and builds until we get to that point. And that's what I love about this director, is that with his kill scenes, they're the star. He builds up every inch of this sequence until it just finally gets to that point of catharsis where you see what you've been waiting for. And it pays off. Look, the last half of this movie, at least the last 40 minutes, is just a free-for-all. Everyone is getting some. No one's safe from her. Like, this deadite bully bitch is so unrelenting and taking so much glee in what she's doing to these her fellow classmates that you almost laugh at how like hysterical, like there is no saving her soul. She's just been this fucked up. And there's even a side plot that just to further emphasize like how fucked up she is. Small spoiler, because I just have to talk about this. She is so evil. she tries to sell one of the girls while pretending to be her friend to human traffickers. She tries to prostitute her for money. At one point, I'm like, what kind of teenage bully thinks of this shit? And then I thought to myself, this must be like an orphan situation. She's like a midget grown woman. Because the thing is, to one, know these people, happily walk towards these people and do this, like, give me my money, like you do this shit on a daily basis, which, by the way, there are people who do this shit on a daily basis. But she's just like in her school clothes, like, hey, give me my money. They give her money. She just waves and leaves her there. And there's a whole sequence that is actually really, really awesome. But she's that kind of, again, I'd rather be bullied by the Stephen King bullies. All the horror works here. It's exaggerated. It's what you would expect from him. It's crazy. The shadow work here is awesome. There's a cool scene with sleep paralysis that you are seeing from the perspective of the person suffering the sleep paralysis, but you're seeing her on the wall looking down. And the way that it looks, it called back to old school Freddy Krueger, Nightmare on Elm Street. Like, there's a lot of great horror in this, a lot of good gore that pushes the boundaries, but there's a lot of things in here that don't work and almost made me kind of skip out on it. And again, this does not change how I feel about Death Whisperer, because I still think that that franchise is magic, and I can't wait for the fourth. But I think that the setting here and the characterization was lacking. The characters are non-characters. It's a group of 4 girls, and not a single one of them has a distinct personality trait. Nothing. There's not the smart one, there's no nerdy one, there's not the shy one, there's not the slutty one. There's no archetype of horror. They're just girls who are just saying the same thing in different ways. That's all. The first half of this movie, maybe like the first 37 minutes or so of this film, is really just you following the bullying the ever-living fuck out of them and seeing just how far she's willing to push things, and, you know, getting their characters to that breaking point where they finally decide to defend themselves. And it just felt like a far fall from the characters from Death Whisperer, this family of beautifully empathetic people who you root for and who you've seen grow for 3 films with different dynamics of old and young and different, you know, aged siblings. And this just did not work at all. The characterization was just so like, I want to have fun watching these characters like try to figure things out and maybe crack a joke every once in a while, or just seem like they're just high schoolers caught in a weird situation. And they just felt like there were high schools that were written into a horror film as they were. They didn't really sell that. And it just kind of felt and I wouldn't bother me if it didn't take so long to get to the part where the bully turns into a ghost, but it takes quite a bit, you know, and at that point I'm just kind of waiting for the bully to do something real fucked up, so at least I can enjoy that. There's also a side plot involving and how can I say this word without getting banned and my house nuked? There is a side plot involving a PDF file, read between the letters, where it is insinuated that the gym coach was having an affair with the bully. It doesn't really go anywhere. I thought that they were trying to, you know, the movie's already pushing boundaries with gore in a way that I feel would make most people uncomfortable. I mean, not me at all. Like, I love this shit, push it. But it was already pushing gore in a way that I think like a lot of people would be like, oh, that's no. I figured that maybe with this plot, they would also try to attempt to do something subversive and do something dark, or do something that is telling or cautionary, anything. And it didn't really serve a purpose except for one scene where he like exposes himself to an entire class because of something that's happening. And it really just kind of served for like a dark shock humor moment that, you know, that's it. It didn't really go anywhere. Then there's also a twist toward the end that absolutely baffled me. If the characterization was good and everything was functioning narratively the way it needed to, and I felt anything at all towards these characters, let me tell you. And you've seen this twist before in horror films, where a group of people do a thing. And if you can read between the lines, I'm sure you already can figure it out. But there's a twist within that twist that I thought, actually there's technically 3 tits. Wow. 3 twists in that twist that would have all hit if I gave a fuck. But at this point, I really didn't, so I was even more disappointed because that twist would have really made this movie stand out for me in such a cool way. This is the half-hearted review for a half-hearted film. Again, I still want to see Death Whisperer 4. This man, when he touches that franchise, does just creates magic. But this, unfortunately, did not replicate that formula. And apparently he can only do that with Death Whisperer. If any of that sounds for you, and you're just curious about the violence, skip 37 minutes in, watch the rest of the movie. You'll get everything that you need to get. Really, once she dies and becomes a ghost, that's when the movie really kicks off. And that's what you're there for. So if you're just remotely curious and want to see the gory shit, and you're a sick fuck, go ahead and skip to the 37-minute mark, and you'll be pretty set. The next film that I want to review for you guys is one that I'm recommending under specific conditions. That's because it is a slow burning spy thriller / action K-drama that, like many of their K-dramas involving defects of North Korea, is a film that understands tension and how to build it until it's unrelentingly painful, your balls are blue, and you're finally ready to go. But that's because the second act is a very slow burning thriller about a Humint, that's short form for human intelligence. She basically provides information to South Korean agents about trafficking in and out of North Korea, which is something the South Koreans are investigating. People are getting trafficked from North Korea into China and Russia. The North Koreans are also investigating the same trafficking ring. Now, the Humint is working for the South Koreans in hopes that they will keep their promise of helping her defecting mother from North Korea for a better life. So she's doing this all for her mom and herself to leave safely. The problem here is that the agent from North Korea is an ex-lover, and the South Korean agent is falling in love with her. Now, this is not one of those romantic triage, no, none of that. The romance here is very nuanced, and it serves a purpose towards the end. It's very subtle in how it lets you know that's still a thing, that's a working thread in the story, but it's not what this film is about. It's just part of the characters, and it pays off later on. But the real story here is these two agents eventually coming together to help save her when things get a little too real towards the last act of the film. This North and South Korean agent now have to work their differences in order to save someone that they both have affection for. I'm a sucker for these Bourne Identity light action films where it's just one man who's an operator with resources, and he's trying to avoid every camera and every agent dressed like a civilian out to get him. And there's always that one badass operator who's sent out to capture him, and they've got about 2 or 3 action sequences throughout the film, and every fight just gets bloodier and bloodier. The fight sequences are grounded. That's the kind of action that I enjoy the most when it comes to at least American action filmmaking, because that's the one that they seem to know to make. Those are the kinds of action films they seem to make the best. For example, Shelter came out this year with Jason Statham, and that it was very much one of Jason Statham's best films, because it was, one, incredibly shot, and two, it was very much his version of Jason Bourne, with resourcefulness coming first. He's actually taking hits, he's actually taking shots. Like, he was human. That's what he was, human, but he was still competent and a badass. The slow burning element of this film, the slow burn of watching these two sides sort of try to outsmart each other while trying to figure out this one mission, that this common goal that they both share, is so enticing, because a lot of this film is really just a chess match between these two agents. And there's so much double crossing. There's so many characters. Listen, if you even remotely look at your phone for 10 seconds, you're going to miss a whole chunk of the story. This is not a film you're going to watch if you're someone who scrolls during your films. This is not a movie you're going to watch if you like simple stories. And while this film is certainly the kind of K-drama that I enjoy, it will not be for everyone if you're, one, not okay with reading subtitles. You can dub it. The dub doesn't sound bad. I always like to see how the dub sounds on occasion, in case I want to recommend it to someone that I know hates literature, even though they spend hours reading comments on TikTok or whatever. What you get towards the last 35 to 40 minutes is such an incredibly shot action sequence that involves a car chase, gunfights, a 2v1 fight. it's a film that lets the choreography breathe. And this is something that Korean cinema does so well, Indonesian cinema does fantastically, is allowing their stuntmen and their actors to breathe the scene and fight so that you can see that they know what they're doing. There's prolonged fight sequences, there's prolonged choreography, there's a moment where you would applaud if you're me, and I am me, so I did, where both our heroes finally decide to work together to beat the ever-living fucking eyebrows off of one of the people, one of the villains in this film. And it's just a very satisfying action film where no one is safe. We learn that early on. Don't get attached to any characters, no matter how prominent they seem to the plot or story or narrative. No one, and I repeat, no one is safe in this movie, which really made it feel like the violence had a cost and a weight to it. This is a part 3 from a director, I believe his name is Ryu Sangwan, and he is a director who made the 2013 The Berlin Files and I want to say 2019 Escape from Mogadishu, which are 2 films that are absolutely fucking phenomenal if you like this kind of sort of born light action film with grounded violence and grounded fighting techniques. I mean, it's just awesome. They're not connected. They just in the same universe. Every story is within the same themes of, you know, black operations, gray operations, but it's still very much their own standalone story. So you can watch any one of them out of order. So just jump into this one if you like it. I suggest you check out Escape from Mogadishu and The Berlin Files 2013. Fantastic. There's another film that I really love that is also kind of like this, but it's much quicker, and it definitely feels like a fuck you to the Bourne series because my God, it's such a crazy movie. It's called The Suspect. It is also South Korean. Check that out. But yeah, that is my conditional recommendation because I don't think that this one will be for everyone if you're not willing to sit for a little and live in this story and then be paid later with a great action sequence. And if you can't put the phone down, and the only reason I say that is because I know quite a few people that still scroll while they're watching a film. I know sometimes that's comfort for people. This is not the movie you're going to do that with, though. I promise you're going to be so fucking lost before the title sequence hits. Yeah, those are my double features. That's my double feature for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. I was feeling saucy, so I sauced up the TV. That sounded so wrong. I hope you guys enjoyed my commentary for today. Thank you guys, as always, for all the interaction, and the conversations that I'm having on Instagram have been great. So if you guys want to be involved and want to send me an audio, I have some people sending me audio showing me their movie collections. It's been great fun. So if you want to reach out and just have a chat or whatever, or want to recommend movies, just go over to Instagram, cosmic.frame1331. Feel free to send me an audio or a message or a video message, whatever you guys want, and I am pretty good about responding back in good time. So feel free to do that. Thank you guys for supporting me and for watching this video and for all the shares and comments. Yeah, anyway, I'll see you guys at the movies.